How can you speak Arabic? The Arab billionaire's voice thundered through the grand hotel lobby, his eyes narrowing on the little blonde girl who had just spoken flawless Arabic to him. Gasps rippled through the staff standing behind him, and all eyes fell on the janitor's daughter, clutching her worn notebook, her cheeks pink but her posture steady. Before we move further into this story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear. Let's dive in. Just moments before, the billionaire had been storming toward the exit, furious, declaring the deal was off. Millions were about to be lost. The executives stood frozen, watching their dreams crumble. That's when the tiny voice from the corner stopped him. And now every heartbeat in the room felt like it echoed against the marble floor. The janitor, still in his faded blue uniform, trembled as he whispered, "Please, sir." She didn't mean to interrupt. He tried to pull his daughter back, but the billionaire raised a hand, silencing him. His piercing gaze never left the girl. "Answer me," he demanded again. "How can you speak my language?" The girl swallowed, her voice soft but steady. "Because it's not the only one I know. My papa taught me that languages open doors no key ever could." The room fell dead silent. The executives shifted uncomfortably, unsure if this was a blessing or a disaster. The billionaire leaned closer, his tone sharp. "Prove it." He switched to French. Without hesitation, she responded in flawless French. He blinked, then tried Italian. She smiled and answered. German, Spanish, Mandarin, each word from his lips was met with effortless fluency from hers. The shock on his face deepened with every exchange, until finally he chuckled in disbelief and leaned back. But no one knew the truth that lived behind her gift. Years earlier, her mother had fallen gravely ill. The little girl had spent nights in hospital, waiting rooms with nothing but old second-hand books. Languages became her escape. While other kids played games, she devoured dictionaries, taught herself through scraps of text, whispering new words into the air while nurses passed by. Her father, the janitor, encouraged her, telling her that one day her knowledge would be her wings. But wings didn't put food on the table. Her father worked double shifts to keep her in school. She had watched him scrub floors until his back bent, watched other kids sneer at her thrift store clothes, watched teachers pity her. She carried all that weight into this moment, when the most powerful man in the room demanded she justify her voice. The executives glanced nervously at the billionaire, terrified of his reaction. He had come to sign a contract worth hundreds of millions, and now everything was hanging on a child's words. Finally, the billionaire straightened, his voice quieter but sharper. Why would a janitor's daughter waste her time on so many languages? She looked up at him, her eyes burning with truth. Because I know people look at me and see nothing, but when I speak their language, they have to listen. The billionaire froze, her words sliced through the air like glass. For the first time, his expression softened, as if he saw not just a child, but a reflection of something buried inside himself. He remembered his own childhood, poor, overlooked, underestimated, when people dismissed him before he had money, power, or respect. Slowly he turned to the executives who had been begging him for weeks to finalize the deal. He looked back at the girl, then at her father, whose eyes brimmed with tears. The billionaire's next words shattered the silence. "The deal is back on." The executives erupted into applause, relief flooding their faces. But the billionaire wasn't finished. He stepped forward, lowering his voice so only the girl could hear. "You have a gift, and gifts like yours are not accidents, they are responsibilities." He placed a hand on her notebook. "Never hide it again." Her father choked back a sob, pulling her into his arms. He had always told her she was special, but hearing it from a man of such power turned that dream into reality. The girl's cheeks flushed with pride as the billionaire stood tall facing the room. "Sometimes," he announced, "wisdom comes from the least expected voice." The crowd of executives clapped again, louder this time, some even wiping their eyes. The janitor, usually invisible in this world of suits and deals, stood taller than he ever had, his daughter shining beside him. As the billionaire walked away, one of the executives whispered, "Unbelievable. She just saved us all." But the truth was bigger than a contract. The girl had taught them a lesson they'd never forget. That greatness doesn't come from titles or wealth, but from courage, knowledge, and the heart to speak when the world least expects it. The janitor kissed his daughter's forehead, whispering, "You didn't just open a door today, you built one." She smiled, holding his hand tighter, and in that shining lobby, under the gaze of stunned executives and a humbled billionaire, a little girl reminded the world of something far greater than money. That no voice, no matter how small, should ever be underestimated. Never judge someone by where they come from, because wisdom and brilliance can be hidden in the most unexpected places. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop a karma in the comments below.